The midnight detour. The wind howled through the trees as I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles turning white. It was a moonless night and the darkness outside was impenetrable. The narrow road stretched ahead, disappearing into the abyss. My heart raced as I navigated the winding path, the beams of my headlights revealing only a few feet in front of me. I glanced at the clock on the dashboard. It was well past midnight, and I was still hours away from my destination. I had always been cautious about driving at night, but this time it couldn't be helped. A family emergency had pulled me away from the comfort of my home, and now I found myself alone on this desolate road. The radio crackled with static, the only company I had as I pressed on. The road seemed to go on forever, each mile feeling like an eternity. The silence was eerie, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves or the distant hoot of an owl. My tired eyes strained to stay open, the hypnotic rhythm of the road lulling me into a trance. I knew I needed to find a place to rest, but there were no signs of civilization in sight. Just as desperation began to claw at my chest, a faint glimmer of light appeared in the distance. My heart leapt with relief as I approached what seemed to be a gas station. Its neon sign buzzed ominously, casting an eerie glow on the cracked pavement. I pulled into the empty lot, the gravel crunching beneath my tires. The gas station looked abandoned, its windows covered in a thick layer of grime. I hesitated for a moment, my instincts telling me to keep driving, but the exhaustion was overpowering. I reluctantly turned off the engine and stepped out of the car, the cold air biting at my skin. The door to the gas station creaked open, revealing a dimly lit interior. The air was stale and musty, and the shelves were lined with dusty, expired goods. A bell jingled as I walked in, its sound echoing through the silence. Behind the counter stood an old man, his eyes shrouded in shadows. "Can I help you, stranger?" His voice rasped, sending a shiver down my spine. "I just need a place to rest for a while," I replied, my voice wavering slightly. He nodded slowly and gestured toward a row of worn-out armchairs in the corner. "You can sit over there, but mind you, we don't get many visitors these days." I settled into one of the chairs, trying to ignore the nagging feeling that something was off. The minutes ticked by and my weariness began to overtake me. Just as I was about to drift off, a loud crash jolted me awake. I looked around, my heart pounding in my chest. The old man was nowhere to be seen, and a door at the back of the gas station swung open, revealing a dimly lit hallway. Curiosity got the better of me as I stood up and cautiously approached the doorway. The hallway seemed to stretch on forever, the flickering lights casting eerie shadows on the peeling wallpaper. I hesitated for a moment before pushing open a door at the end of the hallway. What I saw inside made my blood run cold. The room was filled with rows of old photographs, each one depicting a different person. But there was something unsettling about the photos. The people all had the same terrified expression, as if they had seen something beyond comprehension. My heart raced as I backed away from the photographs, my mind racing with fear. I turned to leave the room, but the door slammed shut, trapping me inside. Panic surged through me as I frantically tried to open the door, but it was as if it had been sealed shut by some invisible force. A low, guttural growl echoed through the room, and my breath caught in my throat. I spun around to see a figure emerging from the shadows, a grotesque creature, its skin pale and mottled, its eyes gleaming with malice. It moved toward me slowly, its unnaturally long limbs contorting with each step. I stumbled backward, my heart pounding in my chest. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The creature's sinister grin widened as it reached out a clawed hand, its touch icy cold. I screamed as its fingers brushed against my skin, sending a shockwave of terror through me. In that moment of pure horror, a blinding light filled the room, and the creature let out a piercing scream. I shielded my eyes as the light engulfed everything, the force of it knocking me to the ground. When I finally opened my eyes, I was back in my car, parked by the side of the road. The sun was rising on the horizon, its warm rays banishing the darkness. My heart still raced as I tried to process what had just happened. Was it all just a nightmare? I started the engine and pulled back onto the road, my hands trembling on the steering wheel. As I drove away from the gas station, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had narrowly escaped something truly sinister. The events of that night would haunt me forever, a chilling reminder of the dangers that lurk in the darkness.